For this video, we're going to look at actually exporting videos out of the Vic 3D system. These are great for conferences, makes you look like a bit of a superstar actually, but yeah, let's get into it. Now, it really is as simple as right-clicking on your data window and hitting the export video, but there's a couple of things that we can do first to make life a little bit more pretty. On our color map, I've chosen temperature here for reasons, well, quite simply because white can't fade into blue. We have levels and we have level labels. Now I'm not too worried about the labels, but the levels actually gives you a finer granularity on your data, on the actual number of stripes. 32 is a bit nicer than 16. You can take it right down to 2 and that's just there. So I don't know, choose a number that you like. The labels themselves purely correspond to the numbers, or the number of numbers that you get on your legend over here, and it's a little bit indistinguishable, to be perfectly honest, so I don't really bother with it too much. But let's try a number of, say, 24 there, and 24 here as well, why not? That looks pretty good. You can see you still have some lines or some bands of ISO regions, so it's, I don't know, I don't think that's too bad. You can make this number as high as you want, really, and if we stick it up at 96, and that makes it very, very granular, but at the same time it's harder to pick a point and say that is exactly that value. So 24 it is, and 24 data levels. Apply that. For exporting videos as well, I like to export the 2D plot more often than not, because then it actually superimposes it over the top of the data, over the photos that you're looking at, and it could be the left or the right. I'm going to go camera 1 here, just because the background is a little bit nicer. Camera 2 is looking out of a window, and it's, I suppose it's got its charms, but nah. Opacity, we can increase the opacity a little bit just to make the colours a little bit brighter relative to the specimen. That's 50%. Look, 50% is pretty good, I think. I thought 40% was just a little bit too, as you would say, a bit too faded in. So I'm going to keep it at that. And it seems that the wind is now picked up outside, so it's starting to get a little bit of rattling, so any background noises, I'm sorry about that. Can't really be avoided at the moment, but anyway, let's have a look at what this video will look like. I'm at 25 frames a second at the moment, and you can see that we're just scrolling through. It looks pretty cool, eh? You can see this number up, this maximum number here in white keeps slowly increasing until we get to the end of the data. And then it goes back to 0, and you see everything sort of rescales. Now at the moment, I have it's because I didn't hit apply before. Now I have that applied. So at the moment I've got auto rescale contour applied, and I've got the auto rescale coordinates off. I've got grow ranges only off. Grow ranges only can actually be quite nifty. Let's show an example of it. Actually what I'll do is I'll just hit click and I'll click apply. Now what's going to happen is this image, the legend over here is going to keep growing until failure. And then when the animation restarts again, this legend over here will actually stay the same. And that has purposes. So now you can see that everything is ranged to the original data. Oh, sorry, to the final data. And so you can actually see the colors slowly coming in, and that definitely has its charms as well. Which you decide to use in the end is very much up to you. It's very much up to the application you have set in mind. Personally, I'm going to get rid of grow ranges only. I kind of like seeing the resolution at the start. There it is. I kind of like that. But at the same time, that does make for a somewhat dull sort of a video as well, depending on circumstances. So, something to play with, okay? Now, anyway, we're happy with that. I'm going to hit the stop button here. And we can export this video. Now this video is the V or delta Y, so displacement in the Y direction. Make sure you include that in your video, auto rescaling is enabled. Are you sure you want to export a video? Absolutely, yes I do. So I'm going to say yeah, AVI I want. Those codecs don't actually work on my computer, so I'm not too worried about that. Frame rate, that very much depends on how many images you have. Let's just get rid of that for the moment. We have 230 images, so if I made it at, say, 23 frames per second, then I'd have a video that lasts for 10 seconds. I don't know, I want about roughly 15 seconds maybe, so I don't know, 15... I suppose 15 times 15 is 225, so yeah, 15 seconds, 15 frames per second sounds pretty good to me. So, alright, let's just do that again. Export video, yes, yes, yes. So 15 frames per second, RGB uncompressed, that's what I have to choose. Give it a file. I'm going to make a new folder here called exported videos. Forgot next. And remember to include the fact that this is looking at the variable v. So I'm going to call this tutorial exports vdisp. Save. Export. And this will go through and do its thing. And I'll include a link to the final video for your viewing pleasure. Cheers.